The party to end 2020 leading to big crowds in Tampa. Video shows New Year's celebrations overcrowded at bars and clubs despite the surging pandemic and the city's warnings against it.
People were afraid. People were running to the corners. It didn't matter if he was inside the walls. The bullet came through the ceiling.
Worshippers inside a St. Pete church sent scrambling after a bullet falls through the ceiling. Why the pastor says social distancing may have saved a life. A new year comes with a new COVID-19 milestone here in the U.S. today. The country crossed the 20 million case mark for the pandemic. Another reminder that even as we turn the page to a new year, the pandemic is still around. Thank you so much for joining us on Nightside. I am Carolina Lead. Our more than 20 million cases are more than any other country and nearly double that of India and almost triple Brazil, the nations with the second and third most cases. And as we try to get control of this surge, health experts saw their worst fear come true last night. Videos like these on social media, most of them from Ybor City, showing crowded bars, clubs, and even restaurants as people rang in the new year. Some of them outside, many though indoors without distancing or masks. Tampa leaders have asked people to avoid parties like these, and they pledged to step up efforts to make sure they would not happen, but they did. So 10 Tampa Bay's Angelina Salcido looks at the impact this could have in the days and weeks ahead.
Trash littering Ybor City sidewalk shows the aftermath of New Year's Eve celebrations hours ago. 3, 2, 1. Crowds were counting down to 2021. Videos posted on Snapchat show COVID-19 measures went out the door. Very few masks in sight and no social distancing. That's exactly what infectious disease experts said would happen a day before the new year.
People said, okay, I'm just done. I'm not wearing my mask anymore, and I'm not doing the social distance. I miss my family and these sort of things.
With coronavirus cases peaking on the last day of 2020, USF Public Health's Dr. Jill Roberts warned these actions will have repercussions.
It's not time for that. It's really dangerous to do that.
And this is when people get together. They take their masks off. It doesn't take much.
Virologist Dr. Michael Tang says high levels of community spread have bumped up the infection rate in Hillsborough County to 13.5%. Scientists say crowds like this should not be allowed.
People for Christmas and New Year's have not been as careful as they should be. And we're going to probably see another spike in cases in January. And that will, death is a lagging indicator. So 3 weeks after that spike, we'll see more deaths.
We reached out to the Tampa mayor's office to ask about these large crowds. A spokesperson referred us to the Tampa Police Department. The police department sent us a statement saying they worked with code enforcement to educate business owners about mask requirements before New Year's Eve. They're aware of the videos showing big crowds without masks and encourage anyone who was there to review CDC guidelines to help stop the spread. Florida's Department of Health did not release a new COVID-19 report today, but I do want to give you a quick snapshot of our trends over the last few weeks. We'll start with cases, where our state just reported a single-day pandemic record of 17,192 yesterday. The only other day we reported close to that number was back in November, but that was a 2-day total. That dotted line is our 2-week average. It essentially helps us see the trend in new cases in that time frame. And you can see it's been climbing quickly, up more than 2,000 since the beginning of the month. It's a similar story in our testing. Back at the start of December, we were seeing a bit of a dip in our percent positive, but now it's spiking to almost 10%, nearly twice as much as the 5% the World Health Organization recommends to have this virus under control. And our state is now averaging more than 100 deaths from this virus every day, a saddening reality we have faced since the second week of December. And remember, deaths are a lagging indicator. They normally increase after cases climb, so we'll have to see what happens in the coming weeks. And this rise in COVID cases is having an impact on our Bay Area hospitals. This is from the latest state report. In Hillsborough County, Tampa General has 96 ICU beds. Right now, none of them are available. Same at Advent Health. All 37 of their beds are full. In Pinellas County, St. Pete General has all 22 of them full as well. And Largo Medical Center has one of their 45 beds available tonight, and that is according to the state. Next week, we will see a huge step in the Bay Area's fight against the coronavirus as another wave of counties will start offering COVID-19 vaccines to our seniors, including our two biggest. Appointments in Hillsborough and Pinellas counties will go live on Monday. Hillsborough's will open first at 9 a.m. You can go ahead and log in through their website, hccovid19shot.as.me. They'll be vaccinating people at 4 sites across the county on Wednesday. Pinellas will launch its reservation system on Monday at noon, but we're still waiting on the details around just how you'll be able to get one. The county plans to start giving out those shots on Tuesday. And Hernando and Citrus counties will also start distributing shots next week. Citrus is making their shots available to seniors. Eight days. Now, recently, we've seen the UK expand the time between doses for their newly approved AstraZeneca vaccine to help them get those first doses out to people quicker. But we got a sharper insight from Dr. Michael Teng at USF Health that it won't likely be an option for us here in the U.S.
I don't think it's a consideration really in our country where we have just rampant coronavirus infection. I mean, this is not. We're not even close to using the public health measures to slow this down, right? So it's speeding up, and I really think right now, if we're serious about vaccinating, follow the schedule that has been put out there, and get the people vaccinated on the normal schedule, the 21 days for Pfizer or 28 days for Moderna, and go from there.
I know we've just thrown a lot at you, but we've made it really easy for you to go ahead and follow up on all the vaccine information. It's all in one place online. Just text the word vaccine to 727-577-8522, and we will send you a link straight to your phone. We've got all the details posted for you right now by Counting. Tonight, a church congregation in South St. Pete is counting their blessings after a bullet crashed through the ceiling during a service. The bullet barreling into their building around midnight is just another reminder that what goes up must come down, including celebratory gunfire. 10 Tampa Bay's Madison Allworth spoke to the pastor who said they were lucky no one was hit.
Now it's coming inside the house of God, attacking the very people that pray to keep people safe.
Just after midnight on New Year's Day, a bullet came through the roof of First Mount Pilgrim Evangelical Missionary Baptist Church.
The Lord had me move them to the front. That's a part of what we do. But prayer works. It worked in this case, and it works all the time. So it's a blessing that we were praying at the time because nobody were actually sitting in the chairs.
Nonetheless, the group was shaken up.
People were afraid. People were running to the corners. They were afraid to go outside. They were afraid to get in their cars.
The bullet had ripped through the ceiling and amazingly missed everyone inside.
Go through metal and wood and sheetrock. So there was some velocity behind that bullet.
The police were called at 12:13 a.m., but the department says officers were already out on a priority call, a large crowd of people in the same district. Since nobody was injured, officers didn't arrive at the church until after 1 a.m. At that point, everyone was gone.
We're living in some difficult times, and I know a lot of things are going on, but this city is plagued with violence.
Pastor Davis doesn't want another close call. He's asking local leaders to do something so that South St. Pete can continue to have safe spaces like his church.
If I had visitors here, and I don't know if they will come back. The first outing, they get shot at like they're in the war zones.
Because no one was at the church when police arrived, a report has not yet been started for the shooting. When an investigation is opened, officers will try to determine where that bullet came from and how it ended up in the church. A last-ditch effort from Republicans to throw out their election results in the presidential race has failed in court. Why a judge called it a walking legal contradiction. Plus, snow pounding the Midwest and the Northeast tonight as a front moves across the country. So could that bring some rain? Meteorologist Autumn Robertson has a look at your weekend forecast coming up. The Howard Franklin is one of the main connectors in our area, bringing thousands every day across Tampa Bay. But next weekend, they'll need to find another way around that area. So keep that in mind if you actually use it. So the bridge will be shutting down for some nearby construction. That'll run from 8 p.m. next Saturday, that's the 9th, until noon on Sunday. That time will allow crews to remove the 4th Street North Bridge that crosses over 275 as part of the Gateway Expressway project. FDOT is telling people to plan on an extra 30 minutes of travel time just to get around that detour because of issues that could happen on the Gandy and the Courtney Campbell as they back up because of that work. Let's go ahead and get you in the know with a look at tonight's other big headlines that we have tonight. A federal judge in Texas has tossed out a lawsuit that aimed at giving Vice President Mike Pence the power to overturn the presidential election results. Pence, as the president of the Senate, has a largely ceremonial role in next week's formal counting of the Electoral College votes. But this suit wanted to change that process. The ballots have already been cast, with Biden's winning by a 306 to 232 margin. Now, President Trump and his allies have filed roughly 50 lawsuits, and nearly all of them have either been dismissed or dropped. Congress has overridden President Donald Trump's veto of a defense policy bill. It's the first time that's happened to one of his vetoes during his term. That defense bill provides U.S. troops a 3% pay raise and sets defense policy. Plus, it allows many programs like military construction to begin. Trump rejected the plan, saying it did not limit social media companies he claimed were biased against him during his re-election campaign. And over the weekend, a new Congress will be sworn in, but the balance of power won't be decided until Tuesday. Georgia's 2 runoff races will determine which party holds control of the Senate. Nearly 3 million Georgia residents have already voted early. That's more than half of November's total turnout. And finally, parts of the Midwest are dealing with a storm dropping loads of snow across the region. You can see the roads there blanketed in this video that you see from Kansas as well as Oklahoma. Now tonight, that storm doing much of the same across the Northeast. Meteorologist Autumn Robertson, of course, watching all of that, but wow, a very different story here in Florida, of course, where we have a very nice warm start to 2021.
Absolutely. I think a lot of the country was jealous at our temperatures.
Very.
Above average today. We were in the 80s, while a lot of the country was dealing with either severe weather or snow.
So if you need to be out this weekend and want to keep up with Autumn's forecast, go ahead and download the free 10 Tampa Bay app. You can check the radar at any time that you need. And if your weekend plans are taking you out to the St. Pete Pier, you may see some cracks like these on the concrete. More people are starting to notice them and ask what exactly is going on. So we took a deeper dive to find out what's going on there. So a representative for the city of St. Pete told us that it's part of the aesthetics and that it was only the top slab and not the concrete underneath. The Tampa Bay Times reported earlier this week that city architect Raul Cantina says the pier is not failing and they are watching to see if the cracks get worse. They say there is no timeline to do anything about them. 2 defensive leaders for the Bucs are on the COVID-19 list tonight, and one of them could be out for the first playoff game. The details is next in sports.
Now, from Advent Health, this is 10 Sports.
our guys made a commitment in August to each other that if we beat the virus, we were going to have a chance. If we stayed healthy, we'd have a chance to beat some teams that didn't.
Beating the virus, it's a phrase Bruce Arians has repeated all season long. The Bucs have avoided COVID-19 outbreaks better than most NFL teams, but on the verge of their first playoff appearance since 2007, they're getting hit. Tampa's top two pass rushers, Shaq Barrett and Devin White, have been placed on the reserve COVID-19 list. The duo with a combined 17 sacks this year, and tough to ignore White's team-leading 140 tackles, Barrett has tested negative, but was in close contact with somebody who has the virus, so he can return after isolating for 5 days. But White could be in jeopardy of missing the team's playoff game next week. NFL Network is reporting he actually tested positive, which means he will need to get a negative test and have no symptoms for 10 days to have any chance of suiting up. And it would be a huge missing piece for the Bucs defense as they try to start their playoff run. He's really the heart and soul of the defense. White says he has no symptoms, writing on Twitter, "I have had the same routine all season long, going to practice and straight home. I feel perfectly fine and will be ready to go for the playoff game." He has since deleted that tweet. Defense, a big hole for Florida throughout this entire season. The Gators allowed an average of more than 30 points a game this season, historically bad. Their worst defensive performance since 1917. Now, Dan Mullen is making changes to his coaching staff to try and fix it. Secondary coaches Ron English and Torian Gray were both let go, according to the AP. Florida allowed its final three opponents to score a combined 144 points. After Wednesday's 55-20 Cotton Bowl loss to Oklahoma, the Gators' pass defense ranks 101 in the nation. The Sooners racked up a whopping 684 total yards, the most any team has ever gained on Florida. The college football playoffs starting today. Clemson and Ohio State in the Sugar Bowl. Trevor Lawrence, likely the top overall draft pick for the Jags this spring, calls his own number for a 2-yard rushing touchdown, the first of the game. But Ohio State quickly took control of this one. The Buckeyes score 5 straight touchdowns in the first half. Justin Fields has passed for 5 of those. Right now, it's in the fourth quarter. Ohio State is up 49-21. Alabama and Notre Dame in the first semifinal game, the Rose Bowl, moved to Arlington, Texas due to restrictions in California. A couple of Heisman finalists connecting on the first drive of that game. Mac Jones to Devontae Smith. Smith would finish with 3 touchdowns and 130 receiving yards. But Najee Harris had the play of the game, maybe the play of the year, really, showing off the hops and hurdling a defender on a 53-yard run. The Crimson Tide would go out to win 31-14. Let's go ahead and start off the new year with some really positive vibes, really manifest some good things to come with a couple of reasons to smile. So the new year is all about new experiences, right? Stepping out of your comfort zone, and that apparently includes the animals too. Take a look at this koala in Australia who decided he was taking a beach trip to start the year. Not quite brave enough to grab one of those surfboards, but maybe he's working up the courage. That is so adorable. Oh, it's like, why am I here? And of course, we've got to say congratulations to all the families adding a little one today. Advent Health Tampa says it welcomed its first baby of 2021 just before 5 a.m. this morning. Baby boy Jaylon Armani Kiffin came in at 6 pounds, 9 ounces. And maybe the first one born this year, coming to Tampa General just after midnight. Little Claire Carvalho was born weighing 7 pounds and 13 ounces. And as an added bonus for them, the Tampa Bay Lightning surprised the families with a gift. And that is the best part of starting a new year, is seeing the new babies and the new hope. And of course, wishing all of those families a fantastic new year. Thank you so much for joining us on Nightside. Thank you for joining us on the first day of the year. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Any station can tell you the who, what, where, and when of a story. That's the easy part.
You see, what drives us here at 10 Tampa Bay is the why. Every single day. We know that peeling back the layers of the story shows how it affects your life. It gives meaning and context to what's going on.
A lot of things compete for your attention. Information is coming at you quicker than ever before.
And that's why we're here. Don't just watch the news. Understand it. That's 10 Tampa Bay.
Out of the darkness rises a beacon of hope. Backed by popular demand, it's the Hangover Crystal. Bacon, cheese, and a fresh cracked egg stacked high on a hot and steamy crystal. Holy moly, that looks good.
I know this all looks very Hollywood, but guess what? This is a Nissan sales event ad.